2, 1, 2. They're saying they 1, 2, 1, 2. Press 1 if you hear the sound down. Press 1 if you hear it. Press 2 if you don't hear it. Press 1 if you hear it. Press 2 if you do not hear the sound. Perfect. Rahubat, Muisa. Rahubat. Okay, greetings to our YouTube family out there. Greetings. Blessings. Welcome. Kabul Muisa. Welcome, family. Okay, we are back. Back in the house. To do our work. But that's what we're here to do. Greetings. We're back. We have a lot to cover. This is a very involved subject matter and topic. So bear with us. If you have any questions and concerns along the way, do not hesitate to ask questions because it's a lot we're going to cover. And it's very important. This is the type of discussion you really need to take your time and study it. Study what we're saying. This is about us. This is really about us. The science of death, understanding the what happens when one dies. What is that all about? Our people are ignorant to the subject matter, and you have no excuse to be ignorant about something that happens to everyone. You know, everyone is guaranteed to experience this. So why are we living on a planet where everyone is ignorant on the subject matter? This is a subject matter you must be deeply knowledgeable about. If there's anything that we will teach you in our culture, Wu-Sabat, you must understand this primary subject. You must be knowledgeable about this subject. You should not be ignorant about this subject. How can we be ignorant about a subject that everyone experiences? But that's the planet we live on, right? Pretty sad, but it's where we at. But let's get started now. For those who do not know me, my name is Peti Sina Tebtu Re'e, and I've been over a 30-year student teacher of the profound doctrine of the master teacher, known to us as Panabab Yananan, also known as Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, who has been teaching us our ancient culture we identify as Wu-Sabat, also known as Wu-Nawab, which stands for those who make decisions based on sound right reasonability, based on the principles of Ma'at, based on the wisdom of the Hutri. In essence, our culture was about being in harmony with natural nature. Our culture was about being in harmony with natural nature, right? This is one of the reasons why they call us as indigenous people animists, because we were connected with the forces of nature. And we identify that culture as Wu-Sabat, or we'll say Nawapu, or we'll say Noon culture. And it was about being in tune with the creative forces of existence, absolute nature. And this is what the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, has dedicated himself for the last 50 some odd years, since the 60s, teaching us our culture. Because we teach the only way we can solve our problems as a people, because we've been under racism, white supremacy now for the last 600 years. We've been under the spell of Leviathan for the last 6,000 years. The only way we're going to fix this is by getting back to our original way of life, of how we ruled as Sabaean, as Nuwaubian people. We lived in harmony. We had thriving societies. And all that has been stripped away from us. Why has it been stripped away? Because we got away from how we did things to benefit us, for us. We started accepting foreign cultures, and gradually over time, as we adapted more and more to foreign cultures, they became rulers and we became servants. And that's what's happening around the world. We're living everyone else's stuff and not doing for ourselves and our kind. And so the culture is Wu-Sabat, and that's what we're here to teach. This is what we're here to spread. And so we tell all of you guys, spread the word. That's your job. That's your obligation. Let people know. If they really want solutions, this is it. Now, with all that being said, before we get started, we always get started by doing our prayers, our rituals. Our culture is about spiritual development. The culture of Wu-Sabat is about spiritual development, and the process of spiritual development is doing rituals, prayers, chanting, meditation practices, concentration practices. All of these things are necessary to develop one spiritually. And so we open it up with our prayer that we do every week, right? And then we get started. So let's get started with prayer. Now, we do our prayers in our Lahaj, our language, and then I'll translate it for you guys into English. So those of you familiar with it, you can follow along. If you're not, just, follow along with the English. Hopefully you will learn it too. Let's get started. Bade Kala Namasa Wufad Ko Ahmad Kasamun Shalal Pa Put Banan Safa Kawun Pa Sawa Wupa Tara Z Kawuna Nazula Laha Ankum Mana Sabat Wu-Sabat Ama Hadayan Shafe'un Mana Salafu Wunataru Ajula Yena Fasukum Afuk Shana Kawun Kuma Pa Sawa Wupa Tara. This book is the truth and the way. It was sent down for you all from Sabat Wu-Sabat star constellation as a guidance and a healing from your ancestors and overseers. Return to your own. Accept what is yours, the truth and the way. Annun tawa ankum laha panan shafe'un wu alaj. Annun tawa ankum laha nasuinun. Annun tawa ankum laha ashuk. Ankum atta salafunun. Annun atta kharad ukum. Annum talub nasar kuma. Annum talub nasar kuma. And so nun sayim nataru. And so nun salafunun. Anunata munwapu. We thank you all for this healing and cure. We thank you all for not forgetting us. We thank you all for Ashuk. You are our ancestors. We are your children. We seek your help. We seek your help. Help us, divine overseers. Help us, our ancestors. We are Musba'u. Anun. Atun. Atun. Amun. Jennifer. Alrighty then. All right. So let's see. Before we get started, we go over our core principles of Wu-Sabat / Wu-Nawab. As everyone knows, we always go over our core principles before every discussion. It is imperative because all of our discussions are based around our core principles. And it is imperative that you learn these principles inside and out so that you can implement into your actions and deeds each and every day. This is the key to the culture of Wu-Sabat, is these core principles. So we do the discussions, these lectures, to explain the core principles, right? That's the whole purpose of our discussion, so that everyone will understand the core principles in which we live by, so that you can implement it into your lifestyle, so that people will see you live in the culture. That's the key. Showing the culture, representing the culture. And the only way you can do that is by understanding the principles that we all adhere to. Be the example you want to see in the world. I repeat, be the example you want to see in the world. I repeat, be the example you want to see in the world. Principle number 1 is Ashak. Ashak stands for the power of love, right? Our culture is based on Ashak, divine love. We did a discussion on that. So for those who have not seen it, check it out. And if you haven't seen it in a while, watch it again. Principle number 2 is resurrection. Resurrection is about becoming gods, goddesses, and gods by learning to open your third eye. We did a discussion on that, so definitely check that out. It is highly important, extremely important. Our whole culture is based on resurrection. Keep that in mind. Our ancestors in ancient Kemet, Egypt, what they call Egypt, and Nubia was based on resurrection. And that's what we're going to be talking about, really, when you talk about the science of death. Principle number 3 is the wisdom of the Hutri and Ma'at. The Hutri stands for divine mind. Ma'at stands for order. We did discussions on that, so definitely check that out. Principle number 4 is relationships. As indigenous people, we always live of, for, and by each other, right? Our culture is always based on that. We did a discussion on that, so check that out. Principle number 5, morphic resonance / matrix. Morphic resonance deals with sounds, tones, colors, frequencies, vibrations. And matrices are the manifestations of those sounds, tones, colors, frequencies, and vibrations. Check out we haven't did a lecture on that yet, but we will. Principle number 6 is Leviathan. Leviathan is what we've been at war with, right? Leviathan stands for moon culture, aka religion, aka Western culture. We did a discussion on that. Guys, the master teacher wrote like 6-7 books just on this one subject matter. One of the first books he put out back in 1971 on Leviathan. So it's imperative you understand the nature and the science of Leviathan, which is what we've been at war with. Principle number 7 is soul and spirit. Your soul is your emotional force. Your spirit is your life force. We did a discussion on that, so definitely check that lecture out. Principle number 8 is health. The first key to health is a positive mind. As melanated people, we need a lot of sunlight. The body is at least 70% water. You need water to live. Fasting. We recommend fasting at least once or twice a week. The herbal diet, as Dr. Sabius taught us. Exercise, rhythmic breathing, meditation, concentration, prayer, and chanting. As we always taught, health is not just what you do physically, but it's also what you must do spiritually. Complete health, holistic health is material, the physical things you do, as well as the spiritual things that you do. That is the only way to have complete health. And that's why people are suffering health-wise, because they don't know this. They don't know the spiritual aspects of health. They're totally ignorant. And it's a shame. And the last principle is Pa'ut, the creative force itself. We say Pa'ut, the all. You can't add to the all because where would you get it from? You can't take from the all because where would you put it? And creation, or the creative force, is based on what we call a smat, perpetual cycles of existence. And the creation energy we identify as Achach, or we say Ach, is the creation energy. And we did a discussion on that, so definitely check that out. Now, as Sabians, we have 3 primary goals in Wu-Sabat. Goal number 1 is to raise the self. Goal number 2 is to fight Leviathan, and goal number 3 is work to build Sabbatia, right? And goal number 1 in raising the self, you must become born again, as the Christians like to teach, by learning the culture of Wu-Sabat and to live it, to apply it, right? One of the first things you want to do is correct your name. You must correct how you look and dress. You must learn our language, our Lahaj, Sabaic. You must study our doctrine every day, which builds your sound right reasoning skills. This is what helps in your reasonability by studying the doctrine. It assists you in your decision-making skills. And you must practice and master our daily rituals, which in order to turn yourself inside out. This is how you open your third eye, by being consistent with the rituals. And you must always be positive. Goal number 2 is to fight Leviathan. This includes working to free Panabab Yanana. It's one of the greatest fights we have right now against Leviathan, freeing a master teacher. Promoting Wu-Sabat is fighting Leviathan. Become a student teacher and fight the 6 strongest weapons of Leviathan, which is ignorance, right? Our people are plagued with ignorance, our fears, overcoming our fears, your ego. Ego is what bounds us to this realm. Anger, it cuts you off from the spiritual realm. Our lust and desires, our lies/deceptions. You know, where people unfortunately inundated with slander and gossip. These are all of the attributes of Leviathan you must overcome. And the last goal is to work to build Sabbatia. We must support each other in businesses. We must help each other reach positive goals. We must help to build our culture. We must set up a landing zone for Panatharu in Africa, which means we need land in Africa that would be supported by an African government. And Ashuk is the key to accomplish all our goals. Now, what does it mean to be a Sabaean? A Sabaean is someone who's thoughtful and cares, someone who is helpful and honest, someone who is responsible and hardworking, someone who demands justice and honorable, someone who is righteous and humble, someone who is excited and cheerful, someone who is loving and peaceful, someone who is kind and considerate, and someone who is neat, clean, and orderly. Our purpose as Sabaean is to liberate ourselves from adverse forces, guys. Number 1, you must take action each and every day to free yourself of 6 ether spirits inside and out, which includes black people who are possessed by these spirit forces. 2, acknowledge and fight 6 ether from promoting capitalism, the gay agenda, miscegenation, the so-called equality of the races, and racism and white supremacy. And 3, learn, live by, and promote the laws/rules of natural nature, and each one teach one. Word of advice: do not judge this doctrine by watching the behavior of Panabab Yanana nor his students. Judge this doctrine by the effectiveness of the information, aka information, that you personally put to practical use. This doctrine is based on self-authentication. Know that we are not preachers, but teachers who are dedicated to answering questions until there's a meeting of the minds between the teacher and the student, who then can work in unity, which is the only solution to our problems. Quote, what you do for yourself in kind depends on what you think of yourself in kind. And what you think of yourself in kind depends on what you know of yourself in kind. And what you know of yourself in kind depends on what you was taught and by whom of yourself in kind. Quote, until a lion has their historians, the hunter will always be the hero. Lastly, the negative mind talks of what it can't and will not do for self in kind, always complaining about who they don't like or trust, whereas the positive mind always maintains the peace by not complaining about that in which they do not like, but focus on finding solutions to their problems, never allowing obstacles to get in the way of growth. Okay. With all that being said, okay, today's discussion is what happens when you die, right? What happens when we die? Okay, this is what we're going to be talking about. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to go through a lot of the literature that the master teacher has put out on this very subject matter. So we have a lot to go over. The first piece of literature we're going to deal with is the Master Secrets. This is a book the master teacher had wrote called The Spiritual You After the Physical You Die. This is Master Secrets number 19. Master Secrets number 19. So we're going to go through this and a lot of other literature. Okay. And hopefully by the end of this subject matter be very clear. And if it's not clear, watch it again. I highly, you got to watch it again, because this is a very intense subject matter. Like I said, we live on a planet that our people are totally ignorant to something that happens to all of us, and we shouldn't. We should not be that naive to what this concept of death is all about, of the physical body. What is this really about? So let's get into it. Pa ka'al al emt ba'ed pa khatal al emt mawut. The spiritual you after the physical you dies. So that's in Sabat. I'll say it again. Pa ka'al al emt ba'ed pa khatal al em mawut. And that's what it means. Okay. Ayi marura kharad u shalal wu nawab. Ankum nawab u. My beloved children of wu nawab. You Nawapians, you ask me concerning your ka'ah, your spirit, after physical mawat, death. Does it have a survival? Yet, can you repeat lives? Yet you can repeat lives from 24 dawa'at cycles to 24,000 dawa'at cycles. The ka'ah, spirit, it is the personality you. And as for your ba'ah, your soul, it is the tashor al, emotional you linked to the achik you, the etheric you. Okay, guys? So now the master teacher is explaining you get up to 24,000 reincarnation cycles. Think about that. 24,000 reincarnation cycles. And what's unique about that is, guys, every 24,000 years is called the equinox. And every 24,000 years, our history gets renewed. So that gives everyone an opportunity to be under the tutelage of the master teacher every time a being like the master comes, every 24,000 years. So you're getting 24,000 life cycles to resurrect. And within that time period, you get access to a master teacher within that life cycle. So that's important, I think, to keep that in mind. Let's see. It's your ka, spirit, that feeds your body from the mental reservoir into your single akal, your mind. Okay, so there's a thing called the mental reservoir, guys, that all of our minds are connected to. He goes on to say, you as a nagar is linked to Tasu Akal, the nine mind, the highest. So we're linked to the highest mental force of existence, the nine ether minds. Your Fakar, thought, as Nagaru, Safor travels at 24 million miles a zakut, which is a moment. That's how fast our thoughts travel at 24 million miles a zakut. That is how fast your akal can change fakar at thoughts and travel faster than the speed of a twinkling of an ayan, an eye. The Kakasu, or the Caucasians, fakar at thoughts travel at 24 million miles a thanut, which is a second. That is the exact speed of the twinkling of an ayan, an eye, as they make the claim in their New Testament Bible. Refer to 1 Corinthians chapter 15 talks about it. Behold, I shall show you a mystery. You shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye. Interesting, guys. Let's keep going. Now, they Kakasu only are Satu Akal, six mind, no higher, and have been cut off from their Ba'ah, soul. They are only Khatat, body, and Ka'ah, spirit, as all other living creatures. Their Ka'ah, spirit, also survives after physical Mawat, death, and also has 24 to 24,000 Dawa'at cycles, when and if they enter their Laben Nawar, the white light of reincarnation. Many don't, guys. So many of them don't get the benefit of reincarnating, but You have those who do, if they're fortunate enough. They're trapped and are orbs or tayaf, ghosts. Some tormented by the 200 fallen cherubim or incubus trapped on this realm. Refer to Revelations chapter 12 talks about it, and chapter 18 talks about encaged for 1,000 years from the year 2000 AD. Oftentimes, muzyad muhtalu, which means extraterrestrials, appear as spirits and even pretend to be deceased relatives, guys. So be on the lookout for these false spirits. Apex, yeah. Question: why is this all like a game? The beings who do this, all these cycles, why is it as a game? Why ain't things straight? The way I would address that, Apex, is definitely check out the discussions we did a couple years ago. The African Science of Existence, I believe was the name of it. It was a 4-part series dealing specifically with the cycles, explaining that existence is based on perpetual cycles. The universe, everything is cycles. Your body is based on a cycle. The planet Earth goes through cycles, right? Summer, winter, spring, fall, everything goes through cycles in existence. It is the essence of existence itself. So I highly recommend, if you have seen it, and and you haven't seen it in a while, rewatch those discussions, because I think it helps in understanding the nature of cycles. Okay, and what happens as we go through these cycles, and why we experience the things we experience in different cycles that you happen to incarnate on. Okay, so that's very important. So guys, definitely check that out. We did a lecture series on our YouTube, on our channel, NoopooH.org, and it was the African Science of Existence. I believe that's the name of it. 4-part series, and it's like we did this a couple of years ago. But let's keep going. So as to you, Nagaru, yes, once your Ka'a spirit separates from your Bashar, your flesh, you will continue to progress until you attain Tatmun, perfection of being, as well as body becomes pure inside out, outside inward, a clean, pure Akal mind. All your intentions rule your actions. Your deeds are pure without personal reason or gain. Ashuk, divine love, will give you a state of Hanan, grace. So guys, in order to move into the higher abodes, as the master was talking about, you have to be someone who's pure, who's based their lives on Ashuk, divine love. It is a frequency, it is the vibration, and that is what will allow you to move into the higher realms. Okay, very important. Yet all a person does in each hayat life can and will haunt them. The very worst is to take another human's life for any reason with no excuse. If a shakhas, a person, katul, kills or murders another life, be it in the raham, the womb, or after that, ka spirit will be attached to them in this hayat. Meaning, guys, this is talking about females who abort children. That those spirits, right? The child's spirit connects to the female. He's saying. And he says, if a person puts on a uniform of any kind, be it law enforcement, military, an official robe, any job or position that results in taking a life, ordering the taking of a life, or responsible for the loss of a life, that spirit will haunt the person. So if anyone who kills people, they and these individuals become disembodied spirits, they haunt people, guys. In the case of military, a person may be trained or ordered to khafu, fight a war, and katul, kill one or many people he or she has been trained to see as the enemies. Yet each person Each are persons with a body and a ka spirit. If you are a soldier, take another's life, reasons do not matter. That person or person's spirit will be attached to you, even follow you home from service and haunt you, even send you insane or lead you to drink, take drugs, become confused, and eventually cause you to commit suicide. The same for law enforcement personnel, and is why there are such high rates of suicide amongst them. If a couple abort a healthy child for whatever reason, they create that child's spirit. Hayat lives, or excuse me, spirit lives on around them, or can come into another kharad child they have later, or just stay around until they pass over from this khatat al physical life with no anger or danut. Yet both parents will have to live another life and will experience the very same as the child's spirit, a life of rejection. So that's important to know. Now there's exceptions to that for women who've had abortions, right? There's always exceptions to that. I'll leave it at there. If anyone has a question, you can question me on it. Then whatever you do to harm a person or persons in a life will be your qadar, your fate. In another life, you will live. Guys, people talk about that a lot. So whatever your past life, when you reincarnate, right, you transfer that karma, we call qadar or fate. It transfers to the new life. It follows you. Okay, so that's important to understand that. That's why it's so important to learn how to resurrect, guys, so that you don't get trapped in these cycles of karma. Question: what happens to someone who commits suicide? Excellent question. We're going to get into that. If a life is cut off by accident before its physical wakut time, according to his rebirths of Sakafat cells by the telemeters, that person may share a new child's khatat body up to age 9, and some stay on around the person longer if granted the right to be a ka, spirit guide. Know and understand this: when a person mawut dies, that same Garut night, shadow hour between 2:30 a.m. and 3:30 a.m., their Ka'a spirit is taken to the gateway to cross over. There, they will meet and be Rahuba, greeted by Nasabu relatives who have passed. Some they may have never met in this life. They will welcome them. Then comes the choice to Dahu, enter the pale white light, to Raju, return to the same life if an accident or a new life dawar, or be allowed as a Ka'a spirit to visit a person still alive for up to 60 days of earth time. Some given the power to be seen, others only heard, and others only felt. Then after 60 days, again, they must enter that gate at the exact time between 2:30 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. to start their orientation as a Ka'a Mukwen, a spirit being, if they are not to return. When that gate, Patatu, opens each shadow hour at 3 a.m., many spirits or specters and ghosts force their way across and into this physical realm to haunt. Some become trapped. Others cross back over to start their judgment. As you are not judged for your actions while alive, you will be judged by your actions and intentions while you are alive, guys. And if you understand what that means, it's not what you do, right, that you're being judged for, but it's the fact that when you do something, it creates an energy signature on you. It puts you in a certain state and the vibration. This is what you're being judged for, the vibrational state that you're in. So it's not so much the fact that you did it, it's the fact that the conditions that it creates that you're doing. So when you do very adverse and negative things, it creates a negative energy around you. And that's why you're being judged. In essence, you're judging yourself by the things you do. So if you lead a really disagreeable and negative life, you're putting your vibration in a negative state, and it bounds you here. I hope that makes sense. But let's keep going. Mujad Muhtalu, extraterrestrials use the same gateway, and some are what you call demons, ghouls, jinns, devils, evil spirits, many Naduya, called or Rahuba, welcomed by persons playing with the spirit world, and open the gateway by spirit boards or Ouija boards, and covens of people requesting to see or hear spirits, called seances, unknowingly force the gate open at the wrong times, unguarded. Even Mundu'u, scientists who experiment with high voltage, which also can cause a tear in the fiber of the Barah Wu Wakut, space and time, and open a shaye, a vortex, at the wrong time, from now to then, forward or backward then. Now, guys, when we talk about these spiritual gates, let me do this. Let me move over back to here. Now, in this particular scroll, it goes into this gates. This is the prayer book that I read from every day, and it addresses this subject matter in the very beginning. Pa Balach M Yananan, the message of Yanun. Okay, and this is a book of prayers, and it was the reason why the master teacher wrote this book of prayers, to teach you the rituals on how to move into the higher realms. That's why the prayers, it puts your body in a certain vibratory state. That's one of the reasons why we do the prayers. Not just prayers, but also the meditation, the concentration rituals, the chanting rituals. All of these things put you at a certain vibration frequency. And this is how you're able to move on to the higher realms. So let me read this. This is important to know. Pasafa'at, the hieroglyphics show our connection, that they heard the cries of those willing to do what was asked. They are here and are near. August the 12th, 2013, another opening of the Shaye vortex. Although, because they have read just how they have logged time, we really are not truly aware of the Zamut, the day, and the Wakut time in which we are living. Guys, so vortex opens up that allows us to connect with our Nathar, the masters. They come through that vortex every 10 years on the third year, right? Starting in 1943, it was opening up every 10 years on the third year. So 43, 53, vortex open, 63 opening. In fact, 1953 was a dimensional shift year, because they shifted the energy frequency, the music changed. The demons told their children to Mukasa to alter the music in 1953, and this was the beginning of electrical music that hit the planet, so that they wanted to raise the vibration of the planet so that they can interface with their children. The Caucasians overlords told them to do this in 1953, guys. 63 opening, 73 vortex open, 83, 93, 2003, we were supposed to have been ready by then to make, to connect with the masters, while the demons kidnapped the master before the opening of that vortex. And then unfortunately the 2013 vortex opened, but our people we weren't ready. Why? Because we don't understand this science, the science of life and death. That's why we're having this discussion, so that we can become more familiar with the nature of what they're calling death. Okay? And the next vortex opens up next year, 2023. Will you be ready? You can. You can be ready. You have the ability to do it. That's why we're doing these discussions. You can be ready next year. So let's keep going. So now he goes on to say, let's see. In any case, we are in the hereafter, in the 7,000th year, and in the first year, and in the first year of the first 6,000 years of the next 24,000 year cycles. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, we just finished a 24,000 year cycles, right? Every 6,000 years, we go through a equinox cycle, right? And it goes from, 24. How can I say? It's really 25,000 years, really, technically, okay? But it's broken up into 6,000 years, and then you have a 1,000-year, what we call like a millennium period, which is what we're in right now. We're in that 1,000-year millennium period, okay? That started in the year 2000. Now that 1,000-year millennium period counts as a part of a 7,000-year cycle, or it completes the 25,000-year cycle of an epoch. And I know it gets confusing. It would be more simple if I had, a diagram to show you guys. And I'm sorry I don't have that. But I'm trying my best to explain it the best I can. Now, again, every 6,000 years, you have moon cycle, sun cycle, right? Moon cycle, sun cycle is 4. You have 2 moon cycles, which last 6,000 years. And you have 2 sun cycles, which last 6,000 years. And they alternate from sun, moon, sun, moon. Okay? So that's kind of how it works, to give you some idea. And so we just finished the moon cycle of 6,000 years. So we now enter the sun cycle for the next 6,000 years. And we just ended also the end of an epoch, which was a 50,000 year cycle. Okay? And as you guys studied, this is why I highly recommend studying the SMAC circle, really taking your time to study and comprehend the SMAC circle, because it breaks all of these things down. All right. Once you really begin to understand how these cycles work, and that's why I did those discussions, the African science of existence, because that's what we're talking about, these cycles and how these cycles affect species, us, in general, how it affects us as we move through these different cycles, as the universe is changing. Energies are always changing. Okay. So let's go back. So now, where we at? Okay, so now, so it says, in any case, we are in the hereafter, in the 7,000 year, and in the first year of the first 6,000 years of the next 24,000 year cycle. Now, the Tabud al-Nakal, the dimensional shift, has already happened, guys. What so many think will be a physical sign or a detectable shift has already occurred in the Akalat minds and Ibabat hearts of the people. Just look around and you will see just as plain as day yourself who is still resisting, who is listening, who is progressing, who is regressing. There have been so many ways to say the same things over the years in so many Hazabat cultures the world over. Are you a descending being or an ascending being? Smoking or non-smoking? As the Bible talks about, 2 were in the field, 1 was taken. The separating of the goat from the sheep has already began and continues. Which will you be? Right? So the dimensional shift, this is why we're seeing a change in the behaviors all around the world. People becoming more conscious, right? A lot of people becoming more conscious and spiritually minded, just as well as a lot of people becoming more physical, and they can't deal and cope with the world. And so this is the separation between the goats and the sheep, because the energies are changing. Some people were waiting for this energy change, and they are embracing it, and those are the spiritual people. And some people who can't deal with these changes, and this is making them go crazy. You must tune in to realign, to raise your vibration to a certain level. your Muslafu ancestors, your etheric parents, your Sarkum, your family, will be there to guide you through the gates when that time comes. You must be ready. You must not let the disagreeable ancestors or outside influence deter you and cause you to descend lower than you are. Remember, you have 30 ancestors, guys. You know, these spirit forces, your ancestors, it's in your genes. They a lot, and we have unfortunately disagreeable ancestors on the spiritual side who causes us to have a lot of our bad habits come from them. They're the ones that cause us to drink and smoke and do things what we should not do because they whisper into our minds. And that's what our doctrine is teaching, how to overcome those whispering spirits of your ancestors so that you can make the dimensional shift, so that you can raise your vibration, but you got to overcome the lower spirits within yourself. So he says, let's go again. You must not let disagreeable ancestors or outside influences deter you and cause you to descend lower than you are. Two beings will come. Now he's talking about when people transition, when they die. When you die, two beings will come, Munkar and Nakar, demon beings with black skin and blue eyes who will try to trick you with religious questions. Ignore them and think on my own relatives, my own ancestors, and they will fade from sight. You must pass through 9 gates of my death to leave this realm, guys. Now, guys, Munkar and Nakar, like he said, these are demons. When our people transition, you will experience beings like this. Now, what's interesting about it, the master teacher taught us about these beings when we were in the school of Islam, because the Muslims talk about these beings. So it's important to have some knowledge about it. Now, of course, the Muslims, they don't have the science about the nature of these beings, but it's in their culture. Check this this right here. This is a short clip that talks about these two beings that people experience when they die, and this is from Islamic teachings, guys.
As soon as you enter your grave, the grave will squeeze you. That squeeze could be a welcome back home hug, or it could be a squeeze that will break every bone in your body. But it will squeeze you. May Allah make it easy. The grave is dark, very dark, and you are afraid. And at that moment, brothers and sisters, the two ugliest creations of Allah, called Munkar and Nakir, they will walk into your grave. They will sit you up. These angels, Allah had created in a very frightening form. They will sit you up and they will ask you questions. When they sit you up, I want you to feel your heart racing because you will be terrified. And with their voices like thunder and their eyes like lightning, they will ask you, who is your Lord? Who did you submit to? The mu'min will say, my Lord is Allah. They will ask, what is your way of life? The mu'min will say, my way of life is Islam, is submission to Allah.
Now remember what the master said, you do not have to answer these beings' questions. Muslims don't know that, but you don't have to answer their religious questions that demon beings may try to trick you with, guys. So remember that.
And what do you say about the man that was sent to you? You will say, he is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And they will say, Sadaqat. You have said the truth. And they will order the grave to widen. And this grave will turn into a garden of paradise. On the other side, may Allah protect us. They will sit you up. They will ask the same questions. The person will not be able to answer. They will say, I don't know. What's your way of life? I don't know. They said, in another hadith, they said we should submit. They said. And the angel will say, you have lied. You don't know anything. And they will order the grave to become a pit of hellfire. And the grave will start burning till the day of judgment.
This only happens to those who believe this silliness, guys. You are what you think. You are what you think, right? They don't have the facts. You create your own hell for yourself because you believe in these religions there. And what's the sad part, there's truth to some of the stuff they're saying. And then they're mixing it with their fictions and their belief systems. Okay? But people are experiencing these things they call hell or Jahannam that Muslims experience because they create their own reality when they move into the next realm. They're moving into the plane of force, and the plane of force is thought responsive. So you can create a heaven for yourself on that realm, or you can create a hell for yourself on that realm. So when you transition and you believe you deserve to go to hell, you literally create that reality. As the master explains, it's no different when you're creating dreams. You're creating your dreams. And you can either create a positive dream reality for yourself, or you create a negative dream reality for yourself. This is why people have nightmares. You create that because of how you think. You control your mind. That's why it is so important. We must control our own minds and thoughts and not allow the disagreeable ones to influence us with their negative thinking. So now, let's go back to our build with these beings, Munkar and Nakar, demon beings with black skin and blue eyes who will try to trick you with religious questions, right? Ignore them and think on my own relatives, my own ancestors. You imagine the Natharu. Put the Natharu in your mind. Visualize the Natharu. This is, guys, why do you think in ancient Kemet we put images of our ancestors? We were always making images in our ancestors. This is why we say put up the pictures of your grandparents, your great grandmothers. Put up the pictures of the Nathar, Asar, Aset, right? Hara, the Mozaku, the Riskians. Imagine them, visualize them. Your thoughts will attract them. Keep that in mind. Never forget what I just told y'all. Now, let's move on. And he says, think of your own relatives, my own ancestors, and they will fade from sight. You must pass through 9 gates of death to leave this realm, guys. So in order to get out of this earth realm, you got to go through 9 different energy gates. The gates shift like the second hand on a clock. Each Madara realm are beings, some good, others wicked, most trapped over time. Not all are humamu, ka'a, human spirits. Some are demons of other realms, and musyad muhatalu, extraterrestrials who came in and could not get out. They're trapped in this realm. They're trapped on the plane of force and the spiritual plane. These demons. After a wicked person dies, the first 9 hours they linger near their khatat, their body, until all the life is out of the damag, the brain, and then you can separate, guys. This is one of the reasons why we teach to cremate the body, because what happens is when people are burying their so-called dead, there's blood. The blood is also energy and ether. Okay, life in the blood. So when someone physically dies, and especially they're a materialistic person, right? They're bound to their blood. So their spirit force is trapped to the body until the body begins to wither away, and gradually they can be released. So that's why we would cremate, so that blood would entrap the spirit being. This is why people claim when they go to graveyard sites, they see ghosts and spirits. That's one of the reasons why you see that there, because they're bound to those bodies until those bodies dissipate. So keep that in mind. Apex question: what does it mean the doors shift like the second hand of a clock? Because, and we'll address that. Like when you, okay, when you transition from this material realm, you move into the plane of force, okay, and the plane of force subdivides into other different densities. It subdivides down to 7 different degrees. There's density levels on the next realm. And so you have to know how can I say, how not to get trapped in those realms, to move through there's a certain path one must move through. This is why when you transition, that's why your family come to you. Your family comes to you to guide you out of those realms, because you wouldn't know how to get out of those realms if you didn't have a guide. This is why we do the rituals, to make contact. You're supposed to make contact while you are alive. You're supposed to make contact while you're alive. But if you're not doing nothing spiritual, you'll never make contact, and which is what most people do. They never make contact while they're alive. So when they transition, that's why a lot of people, they get trapped because they don't know how to get out. That's what I was just reading. The master was saying beings come into this realm, they get trapped. They don't know how to get out. We'll get into more of that. Let me keep going. So it says, let's go back. So he said extraterrestrials who came in and could not get out, right? What I just said, right? After a wicked person dies, the first 9 hours they linger near their body until all the life is out of the brain, right? So they're trapped there because that physical body is attached. They're attached to it still. And then they can separate. Yet for 60 to 90 days, you can visit using those close to you. Meanwhile, you will be taken by Munsabu relatives who pass before you to go to the spirit orientation on the rules of the spirit world, and to see if you will have to return to the earth or be reborn, right? Reincarnated. So you're going to go into an orientation and they're going to let you know what your destination is, right? Some will return right away within hours of their death. Others reincarnate into new bodies to live out what they did not complete in this life, or suffer for what they did to others. So, if so, they go into limbo to await a return, while others pass on through the 9 gates. Remember, it seems long to you, yet just like when you go to sleep, and hours pass fast in the sleep state, yet in the physical, it's still the same. This happens in death. Then at 3 a.m., you come in one night after death, and that same day is the same as when you sleep. How time seems so fast. Once morning comes, it is the same with death, right? So in essence, the master always taught us that something the Prophet Muhammad used to say, sleep is a sister to death. So death is just the period where you won't wake up. You'll go to sleep. You won't wake up in the physical world. You'll wake up in the spirit realm. That's what it will be like. Okay. Now check this out. Now look at this diagram, guys. You see Earth is in the center. Earth is right here in the middle. And you see, number 1, this is a gate. Number 2, this is another gate. 3, this is another gate. 4, this is another gate. 5, this is another gate. 6, This is another spirit. These are spiritual gateways. 7, another one. 8, another one. And 9. That's how you get out of the earth realm. You have to be able to pass through those gates. Or people who don't know how to get out of those gates, that's why they reincarnate. In order to get to the 9th gate, you're moving into what we call the mental plane. And that's when you can move into higher realms or higher dimensional realms. If you don't know how to do that, you keep reincarnating. You're trapped on earth. And this is why in these different realms, this is where demons and different disembodied spirits are in these different gateways. That's imperative that you know that. So your etheric parents can only descend to a certain level themselves. If you have not raised up enough spiritual or level of vibration, they cannot carry you. In ancient Magma Egypt, we were always doing rituals that constantly kept you properly aligned with the note of A, in tune with the planet and Fatah, nature, and on the note of F, and the heavenly bodies above, or the cosmos, on the note of C. After being assimilated into foreign land and language, tongues, and mind, what was natural for you has become foreign. So you call out, and your call was answered. The master is saying, this is why we have this prayer book, but to teach you the different rituals. And this is what will help you make connect or contact with your family on the other side who are monitoring us, guys. But it is important that you understand that this is a process in order to get out of this realm. Again, when people are dying, they're moving into these other realms. Okay? And you're dealing with your demons. Because here's the thing. Let me go here. The master talks about you have like 7 classes of demons. You have one class of demons called the Jan. Okay? Let's see. Says, what do you mean when you say that the jinn was created of smokeless fire? Answer. This is in the book What and Where is Hell, guys. This is one of the books the master teacher put out. This edition came out in 1997, 98 maybe. Okay, just so you know. And it's called What and Where is Hell. And this is one of the first. This is maybe the second edition. I don't know. There's another one that came out after this, but just so you know. So here, this is on page 43. It says, what do you mean when you say that the jinn was created of smokeless fire? Answer. In this Quran, chapter 15, verse 27, it refers to Iblis as being created of smokeless fire. Narun al-Samun, which means illuminated poison, right? A poisonous wind. Thus, he was given the title Sama'al, meaning poison those of El. What is meant by Iblis being created of fire means it's talking about the anger, the hot breath you give off, the Curlian form of fire called your aura. When you become angry, your personality changes from positive to negative, thus making your light aura or color change. This is the same thing that happened to Iblis when Allah asked him to bow down to Adam and he refused, according to the Quran, chapter 2, verse 34. And I quote, bow down to Adam, and they bowed down. Not so Iblis. He refused and was hauntedly. Now Iblis was called hauntedly as well, which translate in the Ashodic Arabic as astakbira, which means big-chested or boastful and full of pride, pouting out of anger. When it says he is created of smokeless fire, it is referring to his nature. So when the word fire is used when referring to Iblis being created from fire, it is talking about his aura or his Curlian form. energy form. This is the amber light beings, guys. The amber light, which is like orange. Quran chapter 55 verse 15 confirms this because it says, and I quote, and he created the jinn from fire, free of smoke, or smokeless fire, right? Then it goes on to say, a race of spiritual beings that were created of smokeless fire or the lesser light. They are evil forces which are placed upon the earth, guys. The jinn has the ability to inhabit a person in the form of envy, your greed, your vanity, your jealousy, and other forms of negativity. You're being possessed when you are experiencing these attributes, guys. Remember in our when we talk about the principles of Wu-Sabat, right? And we go to the 3 goals of Wu-Sabat, and goal number 2 is to fight Leviathan. And in fighting Leviathan, you're fighting the 6 strongest weapons of Leviathan, which are your ignorance, your fear, your ego, your anger, your lust / desires, and your lies / deceptions. When you're in that state, you're being possessed by these demons. So let's go back. So he goes on to say, the jinn is the origin of what we call evil, which works on sickness, disaster, ruin, and physical death amongst people. There are 5 major classes of cherubim. The groups of cherubim are 1. The Jan. The Jan is the vice master of the jinn or malevolent cherubim. They are beings from Aldebaran. These are the parents of the Mukasu or the Caucasians, these Aldebarans. The Germans claim that they got their technology from beings from Aldebaran. They blonde hair and blue-eyed beings. They're demons, guys. Located in the Taurus constellation. They entice you with music and pleasure seeking. People blindly allow themselves to be seduced by Jan and exchange their souls for power. Music has become a great part of the American and European culture. Not the type of music that can help you, but that does more harm than good. Music today is composed of computerized electronic sounds known as disco and club, rock, country, pop, hip hop, rap, etc. Nubians are being led astray by this type of music. Electronic music destroys the nervous system and puts you out of tune with your creator, right? It disconnects you from being connected to the Natharu. These tones, these frequencies, these vibrations. That's what I said in 1953, these beings, these same beings, these Aldebarans, these Pleiadians, came to the Mukasu and told them to alter the music in 1953. And this was the beginning of electronic music. This is where you see like people like Chuck Berry and they're introducing the electric guitar. And these are the demons that are keeping you bound to this realm. Guys, this is why our people, we can't get out of this dimension, right? We're trapped here because these beings they're able to turn into ghost spirit form. They come as ghost spirits. So they can either incarnate as physical or they can be as spirit forces. These ETs now we're talking about. This is their technology they have. The masters can do the same thing. Our masters, they come as positive spirits. Our spirits are black in nature, black gas or crystal. They look like crystal also. Their spirit forces are white or amber. They're gas forces. Where we at? Okay, so now it goes on to say, let's see. Question, is music the only way that Jan manifests? No. Jan also shows up in dogs, especially black dogs or bull terrier, and often in other animals. He also presents himself as a monster in nightmares. Jan can walk in the form of man and woman, possessing complete personalities. Jan is transformed like cursed men into monsters, goats, sheep, bullock, donkeys, horses, camels, cats, jackals, frogs, snakes, and many more. People seem to be more open to Jan than any other type of jinn. Jan readily attacks newborn babies, newly circumcised male children, women who have just given birth to a child, and pregnant and menstruating women. The word Jan is mentioned in the Quran 23 times. Some of the places that this word appears in the Quran, and it gives it the different verses, but I'm not going to go into that. Then it goes on to say, you have the evil reptilian has subliminally placed his name within certain English words. For instance, you have jinn for jinn. The following words are hominous for jinn. So you have gentleman, genius, genes, genero, pregnant. Root word is jinni, right? And so we talk about the jinn. The next race of demons is the shaitan or shaitan. The Quran talks about shaitan. That's the physical race of jinn, or the mukasu. They're the physical manifestations of these demons. The mukasu, the Caucasians, are the physical manifestations of these disagreeable beings who are bound to this planet. The mukasu is bound to this realm. They don't go anywhere. Then they die, they reincarnate, come right back. They die, they reincarnate, come right back. They're bound to this realm, guys. And they want you to be stuck to this realm with them. The only way to escape this planet and this realm, you got to make it through these gateways. And the only way to make it through the gateways, you have to make contact with your ancestors. Another way is getting the master teacher out. And the master teacher knows the way to open up the gateways. But let's go back. So now he goes on to say the race is the Canaanites, the offspring of Labana, Canaan, the son of Ham. He's talking about the Caucasian, the Mukasu. They are the physical manifestation of the devil, Iblis, whether they are of the black race, white, or yellow. These beings are from Pleiades, the 7-star constellation, and Arcturus, the 3rd star constellation. The word shaitan is mentioned in the Quran 70 times. Some of the places that this word appears, and he gives the different quotes. Now, so here's the thing: the Mukasu are the descendants that these beings are able to incarnate into. The Pleiadians possess them, and again, you have black devils who are possessed by these same demons. You have people, they possess everybody, first of all, but the Mukasu is their race. The Mukasu, the Caucasians, were created just so that they can possess them. They possess them at birth, but they possess everybody. That anyone who's open to their energy, anyone who's open to their lifestyle, their culture of negativeness, of disagreeableness. The next one, the moderates. They're called demons. They are considered to be the most powerful and most rebellion race of jinn. This tribe of jinn possess a glaring amber glow. These beings are also called the Greys. The demon Greys, not the good ones, the demon ones. The word moderate is one time, chapter 37, verse 7. Then you have number 4, Jinniya, female jinn or seductress or whores or witches and the like. These are your seductress, the whores, the witches, and the likes. The Jinniya entice men to have sexual intercourse, then kill them. Quite often she will drive them mad. She may take any form of a woman, from a righteous Muslim woman to a prostitute. These class of cherubim are also from Aldebaran constellation, guys. The word Jinniya is mentioned in the Quran one time on chapter 114, verse 6. I heard of people talk about being possessed by these female jinn like that, guys. This guy Corey Good talked about he was possessed by one of these female jinn, and his so-called overlords, spiritual masters, they actually took her out of him. You know, and they captured her, and you can see her. She was a being, a real being. You know, but they know how to turn themselves into like a spirit form, and they come into you. Then you have number 5, Ifrit, the giant jinn, a powerful evil genius. They are considered to be the malicious beings who manifest themselves through ghosts of wicked dead people. This is the race of jinn that were cast to the earth before the prophet Adam's physical composition, a class of jinn that are very vicious giants and are also called reptilians. The word Ifrit is mentioned in the Quran one time, chapter 27, verse 39. Okay, and you actually have 2 more classifications. That's 5, but you actually have 2 more classifications in them. It's not in this book. You would have to go to another book. It's in Are There Black Devils book. I don't have that book for you guys to see it, but I can at least tell you the other 2 classifications of these demons. You have the next one, number 6, is called Aghwal. Aghwal. These are ghouls. These are demon ghouls. They're number 6, Aghwal, ghouls. And then number 7, you have jinn itself. And this is another group of just demon jinns. They're just lower spirit forces. They're weaker spirit forces that possess people. Okay? These are the beings that want to block you from getting, through the gateways. These are the beings that are the cause of our lust, our desires. You must overcome them in order to raise your vibration to move to the other realm. As the master says, your etheric parents can only descend to a certain level themselves. If you have not raised up enough spiritual or level of vibration, they cannot carry you. In ancient Egypt, we were always doing rituals that constantly kept you properly aligned with the note of A, in tune with the planet and nature on the note of F, and the heavenly bodies above, or the cosmos on the note of C. After being assimilated into foreign land and language, and the mind, we think like the Caucasian now. We speak like them, right? What was natural for you has become foreign. So you called out, and your call was answered. This is why the master introduced us to all the rituals, the prayers, the chanting. All these things are necessary. The language. These are the things that'll raise your vibration, so that when you transition, right, your etheric parents will be able to see you. They'll see your energy because they're looking for your energy. That's right, the sucker bee. So remember, you got to get through these gates, guys. Don't forget that. In order to get out of here, out of this realm, or you keep reincarnating up to 24,000 times. You keep getting trapped in these realms. Okay, so let's see where we at. So let's go back. I'm going back to the master secrets, the spiritual you after the physical you die. So we go on to say, let's see. Even scientists, he's talking about how the Mukasu keep doing things, and they open up these gateways for these demons to come through the gateways, to the portals. I was just talking about this is how they get into these realms, because people are doing things they shouldn't be doing. And it's flooding, the planet is getting flooded with demons that come here. Revelations chapter 18 talks about it. So it goes on to say, let's see. So they open up scientists who experiment with high voltage, which also can cause a tear in the fiber of space and time, and open a vortex to at the wrong time from now to then forward or then backward. Also, there is a repent recycle or a second resurrection or a reincarnation rite. This is an adjustment done for a person because they had an original doubt, which means to the descending masters. This is your oversouls, your family, the etheric beings. You have descending masters. It was not the person's own intentional act of evil or wickedness or your own choice, a weak idea. They were persuaded or persuaded. This is not afforded to all and everyone. Only those who while still alive said in regret, I wish I did not do this or that. While the descending master looked from above and the Lazun Nabab, the ascending master, watched from this realm. So you have two masters that's assigned to you. One is ascending, right, on a higher realm, looking down, and one that's in this realm with you. You just don't see them. And they're observing and recording everything that we're doing. Okay? And he's saying that you did something, you regret what you're doing, and they know that you regret what you're doing, then there's a process for that. Okay? Because why would we regret? Because we're being possessed by those demons that just read you about. We're doing things we know we shouldn't be doing. And we have regrets. Hopefully you do have regrets for the bad that you do. The masters make note of that. So they meet and agree that it is a repent event, right? The masters. Those who were repenting, some in regret, over and over, they cry, why me? And they were heard, and this is their answer. So in death, you have what is called a residual haunt. That is, a person is or was the cause of their own death in a traumatic way by accident or purpose. This is a glitch in the disc and a result like a chipped or record. It repeats at the exact moment moment is equal to a point in time. You know of a second. This is the second, such as monad, as in hydrogen 1, then duad as in helium, or or second element which birthed the sun, the moat, the clock of time in this solar system. Refer to Genesis chapter 1, verse 14. That is the Danut, the second, and Wahan, the first, equals hydrogen, and Danut equals helium. And time here was started. Yet, just as it has been revealed that hydrogen is not the lightest atom, also Danut second is not the Wahan Tayaf, the first point in time, a Dagut minute or 60th part of a Wanut hour, for minus or minor, less or minute in 60 seconds, or Danut 60 is 60 Zagut at moments. The moment your personal zero time started to record you on the Dawad Nawat Me Stone, your personal disk, a circular object with magnetic particles for storing computed data, information by the ascending master of your life, and information by the descending master of your life, your Ka'ah, spirit existence to your physical lifetime. Tick is that first spark of life. Is the vacuum, space, Jawef, inside the Asha, female uterus, and the Ayash, male scrotum, and the Tak is the very first beat of the child in the womb, as the Raham is the yielder, as it received the male head of his mamam, penis, opening the gate until Femi 9, the ninth moon, the yielder, as the womb expands to yield for the Rayas, the head of the Khatat, the body of the newborn, to pass through the birth canal, or Ka, now, into this Khatat al-Tapal, physical world. And its time starts in this cycle from its solar system called the solar plex. Be this is its first 24th or 24,000 Dawar cycle of life. Yes, each life is pre-recorded, birth to death, on your telemeters. which determines how many times each cell will reproduce. So in fact, just how long you are supposed to live a physical life is predetermined by your DNA, your genes, your telomeres at the tips of your chromosomes. So in fact, can any one of them be by chance or changed or altered? Yes. If that is your qadar, your fate, not by the cock, fate. Right, guys, you can extend your life. Once you understand the science of existence, you can extend your life. Once you understand the science. I mean, that's if you want to stay on the planet. but you have we have the science to reverse the aging process. Not to mention we age too quick anyway because of the bad everything we deal with and the negative energy we deal with. Joseph Hobbs said, I had a so-called near-death experience. I felt all family, and it felt like I was everywhere. You connect back to mind, mental, guys. Some people have that experience, like when you're in darkness, there's a way, if you're in a meditated state, you become the darkness itself. Your mind expands, and you connect with all. You connect to the creative force itself in mind. That's a real thing, guys. At the exact moment in life, a mistake, a misprint on your disc, you had a than fakar, a second thought about what you were about to do or agree with or use or accept, and you had a doubt as if it was not your own real choice. Rather, someone or something persuaded you off your course in life. Then at death's gate, you are given, if your Lazun Nabab, ascending master, which is the looker, and Nazul Nabab, descending master, which is the watcher, agree to it not being your fault or real true regret at death's gate. You are given a choice. For you said before you died something sometimes right even after your mistake and regret. I shouldn't have done this or that, taken this or that, allowed this or that. At that very moment, it was Sajula recorded as a glitch. Yet life went onward for you, on up to your death. You will have a choice to enter the pale white light of Tatmud creation, a new life Dawar cycle, or you are given a choice to enter the multicolor illumination spiral. If you agree to enter this one, at the moment in your life where you made the mishap or mistake or bad choice, you will wake that morning back in time. Your disc will stop for a moment, and the nefarious, the negative event, will be before you once again, and you have a strange feeling inside. A Jawef Sawat, an inner voice, and Salaf, an ancestor, who say to you, don't do it, don't drink it, don't smoke it, don't touch it, to go in there, don't agree to this or that, don't meet that person, don't have sex with that person, don't use that drug or drink that alcohol, don't go to that party or wear that outfit or go wherever. And this time, you'll say no and don't. And that moment, your previous life is reactivated as if you have never made the bad choice and you live a normal good life. And no, you don't remember your other life or mistakes and bad choices. You don't meet or see the same persons. You have no aborted children or addictions. It was all erased, and you have a second chance. This is not to be mistaken for a second resurrection or reincarnation. This is an adjustment done for pre-repentance, because you had an original doubt, which means to the Khawa'u, the oversouls, it was not your own intentional evil or wickedness or weak idea. It was persuasion. This is not afforded to all and everyone. So also you have in death, as stated, what is called residual haunt. This is a person who tempt the time of their qadar, their fate, much like the Adamites who tempt the hand of fate by dangerous sports and death-defying tests of ego, and results in their own death, or those who cause their own death in a traumatic ways by them doing it to themselves or inciting another to stop their life, a murder or accident on purpose. This is a glitch in the disc, and a result, like a chip record, it repeats at that exact moment over and over, and many can see as ghost forms. It's caused by this instant trauma of the event. It will repeat over and over or around and around for up to 24,000 times, then fade out. Much the same as when you hold a video camera to a bright light, it burns a spot on or in the lens, which slowly fades out. Also, in death, you have what is called a reincarnation. This is to be given a new body or incarnate rebirth of body or in another body to live out a mishap in your life or premature death, not of your own fault. So you are allowed to enter a newborn, live up to 9 years with the child who often can see and hear you. Many mothers call it a childhood friend. In the West, they ignore it while it is very real. It's a ghost who can even remain in ghost form, appear and disappear when needed. Body only remain in ghost form, and in time will be called to the spirit realm. This only happens when a person's life was a life of doing good and right and was interrupted. Also in death, you have what is called a resurrection. This is the rise again for the dead as a ghost or a specter, mostly in religious beliefs, for the returning to life of a great figure or saint or demon or prophet. Let's see. Further, First Matthew talks about it. First Samuel chapter 28 talks about that. Matthew chapter 17. It's all part of their beliefs on spirits. Refer to Luke chapter 24. To them, spirits cannot take on a damat or bones. That means not become flesh. So how do they explain John chapter 20 when it talks about Jesus coming back after he died on the cross? Yet this is their belief in their Bible and Quran, a system of blind faith with no facts they created to enforce their own religious concepts of mawut, death, and afterlife. Yet when you ask for proof, they cannot prove it to you, only point you to their own religious books written by those of their own religions, or of their own religious books written by those who believe their legends, fictions, or stories. You must be one of them to understand. They will claim you don't have the Holy Ghost, so you don't understand. And these are the different scriptures, guys. He talks about this. Now, you know what? Let me show this, because keep in mind, so when we're talking about transitioning, right? This is the Doctor Strange movie. I think they do a good job in this movie showing the process of transition and moving out of the physical body into your spiritual body, right? So I'm going to play this clip that, just to give people an idea what we mean. So that's a very powerful scene for those who can comprehend what is really going on there. That's a very real thing, guys. And it's imperative that we become familiar with that dimensional reality. That's the key. The key is to become familiar with these different dimensional realities. So now, let's see. Let me go here now. This is the Science of Creation book, where the master teacher addresses these concepts, the plane of force. We're going to talk about So because as your physical body, when your physical body, we're operating now on a material plane, right? And then the next realm is the plane of force. Actually, you know what? Before I go into that, let me go into this, the science of healing, because the science of healing goes into dealing with the different. Oh my goodness. Huh? Let's see. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, I played that video. That they don't want me playing that video. That was a good video, guys. I mean, study that Doctor Strange movie. Think of it as a lesson plan. Study it because they are addressing a lot of spiritual realities. And the master teacher actually recommended us to watch that movie, and that they were teaching a lot of science in that, about spiritual reality. So, can you guys hear me? Press one if you guys can hear me. Okay, I can be heard now. I wanted to go. Hopefully, they won't cut that video. I don't know. Hopefully, they'll keep it in there for those who's going to watch the recording of this. Um, but that was a very powerful clip on the Doctor Strange. If you guys got to see it, and showing how when your physical body dissipates, when your body is done, your spirit just comes out of it, right? So I want to get into this concept of spirit energy. What else? So now I'm in a book called The Science of Healing. The master teacher put out this book. Science and Healing came out like in 1996, I believe, or 97. We're at page 85. And so this is very important for us to understand this right here. So he goes on to says, we have finally come to the chapter of this book in which I have entitled this book, The Science of Healing. I have previously discussed Melchizedek, right? It was his marvelous healing works that caused his exaltation in ancient times. He was and is master of a healing science that is little understood today. The green light of El Khidr, Melchizedek released a healing force by the power of the mind, focused with full intensity in the inner body, and on the acceleration of direction of the inner forces of the body. Melchizedek was appointed by Anu, or we say Ra, who is also known as Allah to the Muslims, as a medium and a guardian over all the earth, and as a source of healing for humans. The presence stimulated by a visual thought force with tremendous life energy within and surrounding the physical body. Now, you control your spiritual energy using your mind. That's what he's talking about. You control your spiritual energy using your mind. This is what he's talking about. You control your spiritual energy by using your mind. This is why you have to get your mind right. Okay? The mind is what controls the spirit. The mind is what controls the physical body. Okay? The body is made of 7 degrees of substance. I repeat, the body is made of 7 degrees of substances. I repeat, the body is made of 7 degrees of substances. These 7 substances vary in density and vibration. I repeat, these 7 substances vary in density and vibration. You only know of 3 of these substances: solids, liquids, and gas. They got us trapped. We only connect with the solids of our physical body, the liquid of our bodies, right? The blood, the urine, the saliva, the sperm, that's the liquid. The gas, your mind, your thoughts, right? The gas of the body, that's what we're in tune with. But there are 4 other substances to you. However, there is a shadowy form that is called the etheric body. That is an exact duplicate of the physical body, but made of 4 higher substances. You have first ether, also known as electric ether, second ether, which is life ether, third ether, which is light ether, and fourth ether, which is mental reflection. That's what you were seeing in the Doctor Strange movie. He was now in his etheric body. You have to be in tune with your etheric body. That's what we're trying to say here. So the 4 ethers of the physical region. So you have number 7 is, it goes, well, start from here. You have solid, liquid, gas. This is the dense or chemical region of the body, right? Solid, liquid, and gas. This is what every human is in tune with that, but you're not in tune with the other essence, the 4 ethers of the physical region. So you have first ether, electric ether. That's like your aura, guys. Second ether, which is the life force energy. Third ether, spirit energy. And fourth ether, mental reflections, your mental body. These are all different energy vibrations of you. It's still a part of you. It's you. It's just that we're not in tune with that essence of ourselves. We're only in tune with the lower part of ourselves, the solids, the liquids, and the gas. The etheric body, or the part of you that is composed of ethers, is called the body of life, or the body of vitality, without which the denser part of you would not be able to live, right? So if you didn't have a spirit body, you wouldn't be able to live. Okay? Now, when I say body, I do not mean another body apart from yourself, or another form expressing an individual intellect or personality. I merely mean another shadowy stage of yourself. As stated previously, the etheric body and the etheric senses are attached to your physical body by a very thin etheric cord. Through this etheric cord, you receive your spiritual senses detect. Okay, so your physical body is connected to your etheric body. It's one and the same. You are that etheric body as much as you are your physical body. And you must learn to become in tune with your etheric body. Let's see. The etheric body is the body of life force, of vitality, and of energy. Without it, the physical body is in darkness, without life and light. The etheric body is the part of a human that keeps you in contact with the spiritual realm. The etheric body can exist without the physical body, but the physical body cannot exist without the etheric body. The etheric body is the body that digests the activities of the 7 seats, or the 7 spiritual senses, right? Your chakras he's talking about. The etheric body draws in the energies through these seats, which sends the energies through the glands of the physical body. Okay? This is how you charge yourself spiritually. That's why you do the rituals, because when you do the rituals, it operates, it opens your glands up in the body and allows you to harness this energy into the body. Okay? You can do it. It's very real. I'm speaking from experience. I've done it many times. Charge my own body. Know how to tap into the energy essence of my body. You guys have to learn how to do this. When your body becomes ill, what happens? Answer. The physical body and the etheric body has somewhat become disconnected. The physical body is cut off from its source of life force. When your inner light becomes dim, your body starts filling with darkness. The body starves and the cells starve for life. Humans were gifted with the ability to heal under proper guidance, which was studied under the elders. The same healing abilities the prophets had, and the same healing abilities Jesus had and taught to his disciples. Not only the 12 disciples, but others also. are the same abilities that humans have. All humans have to do was follow the right path. The healing ability was instilled in all humans from our conscious to our subconscious, the physical to spiritual, the cranial and spinal nerves to the seat of light or the chakras. The secret was to understand how to direct the green light energy of Al Khidr to release tension within and to stimulate its vibration to bring all the cells of the physical form into harmony, one with the other. Without the green light, it is also the same. Without the Most High, nothing would be, right? The green light acts like a magnet stimulating within the body. It attracts from the magnetic force field surrounding the body. The etheric particles of green light, which are awaiting to be drawn into the body by the seats. Every molecule in the body and every atom that makes the cells of the body is built around a magnetic center of positive and negative, held together by this light or green light that connects all to the bosom of Re'e, we say, or Pa'ut. The small light of the cell or atom is what holds it together and keeps it from wandering off on its own. So here is a picture of the cell, the living cell. On an outer layer of the cell is your spirit energy. You see this? So you have the body, the material aspect of the cell. Okay? Then you have the soul force within that cell. I hope you get this. If not, take your time, watch this very carefully, as we do it. Now, keep in mind, what death is when the spirit body cannot connect to the cellular body. There's a disconnect. That disconnect happens when the flow of blood stops, because your spirit feeds off the blood. So when people have cardiac arrest, their heart stops, right? When the blood flow stops, the spirit can't live off the body no more. So you have the separation. That's what we saw in the Doctor Strange movie. You see the separation when the blood flow is interrupted. Okay, you begin to separate from the body. So this is important to understand your etheric body, to realize you must learn to become in tune with your etheric body. You do this by the rituals. That's why we teach the rituals. If you do that, you learn to do that, right? Then what happens? You learn to do that. It actually connects you with the masters who are your oversoul, your masters. They're on a higher realm. You can connect with them as you learn to raise your vibration. You learn to become in tune with your etheric body. That's the key. Learn to become in tune with your etheric body through the rituals. The problem is we ignore that part of us. We're only connected with our physical, material part of our body, and we ignore the etheric part of our body. So we're in tune with the solids, the liquids, and the gas of our body, but not with the higher essence of us. And the only way you can become connected to the higher essence of you is through the rituals. There is no other way. Whew. There's so much more, and we're kind of like at that time. There's so much more I need to get into to give more clarity to this subject matter. Like I said, and I've gone over this before in our discussions, talking about this is the Science of Healing book, talking about the plane of force. Right? That's the next plane that's connected. It's interwoven into what we're here now. We're on the material plane, and it's interwoven into the plane of force. The plane of force is the second plane. It's where the ultra-fine ethers penetrate the higher regions of the physical plane. This all results in what you detect with your physical senses. The plane of force is all around us. and is as much a part of your makeup as the previous mentioned plane, the material plane he's talking about. Just as you are not able to detect the higher ethers, 9 to the ninth power of 9, because your senses are not conditioned. You condition your senses through the rituals. Then you can detect your etheric body. You can detect your spiritual body. Guys, you must learn to do that. That's key. Very little knowledge on the plane of force exists outside of our teachings. Right? This was was one of the spiritual schools of thought the master introduced us to. Now we in the ancient Egyptian order as well. These are, and the master was introducing us to connecting with, the spiritual realm. He's the peaceful way, the real Sufi Islam, right? In Sufi Islam, they introduced this spiritual order, guys. Pure Sufi, or the Sons of the Green Light, through Western scientific research on activity, is leading them to further knowledge on this plane. The plane of force is not difficult. It's not different form or opposed to the material plane. The plane of force and the material plane work together in perfect harmony. So, guys, we're connected to the plane of force. That's what the Doctor Strange movie is trying to show you. It's just that we're not tuning into it because our people don't even realize they have a spiritual body. So you don't even think to connect to it. But in order to get through the gates, I keep showing you, in order to get through the gates, you got to get into the plane of force. Once you leave Earth, you move into the plane of force. And then after the plane of force, it's the spiritual plane. And after that is the mental plane. In order to get through this gate, the ninth gate, in order to get out of here. That's why one must develop themselves spiritually so you don't keep reincarnating. The plane of force, also called the energy plane, consists of ordinary forms of energy, light or heat, light, attraction, electricity, etc., as well as those forms of energy which are finer. This gives human beings and nature vitality and ability to grow and reproduce. This vital force which sets life on a physical into motion and is responsible for growth and reproduction, called nefs in Shortic Arabic. It's also called, we call it sakhem in our language. That's the life force energy, called sakhem, or we say nefs or nafash. Also known as prana. The Hindus call it prana, right? The Chinese call it chi. So the plane of force consists of this energy, guys. You have to learn how to harness it into the body. This is how you sustain yourself here, by learning to harness this chi energy, this sakhem energy into the body through the rituals that I'm talking about. Every action and reaction of growth and reproduction is results from nafas, this life force. Then the life force or nafas harmonizes the entire life process of human beings and nature, because nafas is constant of rhythmic pulsation. In nature, we call this harmonization or seasons. The plane of force is perfectly woven into all matter on a material plane. The basis or mother of matter is nature, and nature is resulted from the plane of force. On this plane of force, one is not subject to gravitation, or at least not the same degrees of gravitation. Gravitation, as well as the rest of the forces that control Earth, are on a highly refined basis on the plane of force. The plane of force is governed by a very positive force called attraction, not desire, as on a physical plane. In order to escape the realm of the force plane, one must be able to resist this attraction. If one does not, he or she may suffer total infatuation with this plane. That's why when you go to the plane of force, guys, you can create your own reality. See, that's what happens. People, when they die, they get into what they call a hell realm, and on a plane of force, you literally create it with your mind. When you're dreaming, that's the plane of force. That's why you can create your own dreams. You're doing it with your mind because the plane of force operates on the law of attraction. That's why people talk about the law of attraction. What they're doing is if you concentrate a lot on something you want, you actually can stimulate the energies from the plane of force and materialize it on a material plane. You can actually manifest. That's how they're doing that. That's why they keep talking about, the law of attraction and all that stuff, because they're tapping into the plane of force. It takes mental concentration because on a material plane, the energies here is a lot denser. The energies are slower. They're not as refined. So it takes a certain level of mental concentration. But you can harness that energy from the plane of force into this realm and manifest the things you want. Question, Guada. After you successfully reach the ninth gate, where do you go? Okay, so look, when you go back to the SMAT circle, right, guys? We're right here in the 3. So when someone transitions, you're stuck down here. You're trying to get to the other higher rounds, a 4 ether round, 5 ether round, 6, all the way up to 9. You're trying to get to these higher realms. There are planets on all of these different realms. And these are higher vibrational planets. But you're trapped down here. If you can't get through the ninth gate, you're stuck down here, down on this earth realm. And you keep reincarnating, trapped. And your goal, that's why people talk about extraterrestrials and the galactic life. What you see in Star Wars, all of that stuff is real. But you're bound to earth. And if you don't understand the science of how to get out of here, you'll be stuck down here. Like the Caucasian. They're trapped in this realm. There's other levels of existence. The universe is boundless. We live in a multiverse of existence. But you have to understand the science of death in order to get out of here. And that's what we're talking about. And so that's why you want to get to the ninth gate. The ninth gate is the mental plane. And I was trying to get over to that. I know I'm over my time, but this is so important. You guys need to get this. So I'm going to continue a little bit longer. You must get this. So he goes on to say, on a plane of force, matter is not solid, liquid, or gas as we understand it to be on a material plane. But much more refined because it is vibrating at a much higher speed. Even the light of the sun, as well as the sun itself, has its counterpart on the plane of force. As stated before, the plane of force is governed by attraction. This is because everything on this plane has positive reality, which will normally result in attraction, in turn taking its effect on a material plane. The plane of force is also divided into 7 subdivisions, which are in turn subdivided. That's why people get trapped, guys, here, because the plane of force is subdivided into realms. And so you're in the plane of force once you leave Earth realm. And then after the plane of force, there's a spiritual plane. And so you have to know how to get through those realms in order to get to this ninth gate, guys. This is why you must connect with the masters. The masters will guide you out of here. That's why you have to do the rituals. This is one of the reasons why we needed the master teacher, because the master teacher, we have him physically. He knows how to get out of here. That's what makes him such a viable, why he's so important. That's why the demon took him from us. The master incarnated on this planet for this very reason, to guide us out of here. Now, because they kidnapped him, You now have to master the doctrine to learn how to guide yourself, to develop yourself, to connect spiritually, to restore your divine mind, to open your third eye, so that you would, one, it would increase your intellect on what it takes to even get the master free. This is why we haven't been able to do it. That you have to once you connect with your higher self, you learn how to open your third eye. Once you learn how to open your third eye, it increases your intellect and will give you the necessary intellect on how the things we need to do on this realm. And so we will remain in a state of chaos, a disorganization, us as a people, until we embrace these spiritual realities, guys. So now, planes have no spatial distinction, right? We talk about the different planes, right? The plane of force. It has no spatial distinction of degree. Each plane blends into the other, overlapping, therefore having a common area of space. A single point of space may have manifestations on all of the 7 planes of beings. The moods of vibration can also be likened to a bike wheel. When spun very fast, the spokes seem to disappear until the wheel begins to slow down, gradually making the spokes more and more visible to the physical eye until the wheel becomes completely still. You will notice that you are not able to say exactly when the spoke become visible, but you know that they gradually do become visible. You should have also noticed that when the wheel was at high speed, it appears to be still or as if it had stopped. Guys, anyone who done that experiment, you take your bike, you flip your bike upside down, and you start spinning the wheel, and you're looking at the spokes of the wheel, and it almost looks like it disappears, the spokes, because it's going so fast. You can't even see it because you're changing the vibration. This is what the master is trying to explain. That's a simple experiment anyone can do. The passage through the 7 planes is like the snap of 7 rubber bands consecutively. Picture in your mind 7 rubber bands stretched to different degrees of tightness, with some sort of device holding them adjacent to lie near to each other. The first band being sort of loose, the rest gradually getting tighter until the last is stretched to the tightest. Now pluck each band successfully, starting with the loose band and working your way to the tightest. So this is how the different planes are interwoven into each other, each one vibrating at a different density level. So as you raise your vibration, you blend into the other realms. And on these realms, you got beings living on all of these different realms, guys. As you're moving into the higher realms, this is another representation. You see this, that each realm is woven into one another. This is what the SMAT circle is trying to explain. To each realm is connecting. As you move in vibration, you're moving into higher realms. That's your goal. Until you get to where the masters are. And guys, the masters, they connect with this realm on the 3rd of every decade, right? So 2003, the Mozaku will be able to come through this realm. It'll be connecting. If you raise your vibration, you can connect. You can actually meet them. You don't have to believe they exist. You can know they exist by learning to connect and meet them yourself. So you have the spiritual plane. The 3rd of the 7 planes is the spiritual plane, also called the astral plane. On the spiritual plane, we discover we have another set of senses. But these are much different than the set of senses that we are familiar with. They are our spiritual senses. Though they are spiritual, they may be considered counterparts of our physical senses, both of which are 7 in number. The spiritual plane is a plane of judgment on which you decide whether you move to a higher plane or burn out your desires for the physical plane. These spiritual senses function on the spiritual plane with the spiritual body, just as your physical senses do on a material plane within the physical body. The spiritual body and senses are attached to our physical body, formed by a very thin cobweb-like etheric cord, invisible to the naked eye. Through our spiritual senses, we may also contact someone who has died and is residing on a spiritual plane. This plane can be contacted as well as visited by accident. Persons may also be called down from this plane. Ordinary spiritual bodies go unseen when visiting the material plane, but under certain conditions, it takes on the resemblance of a vapory form of matter and becomes visible to the physical eye as a ghost or aberration. The spiritual plane may be visited without death. However, not everyone can do so. The ascension can only be completed by those pure in heart and well disciplined. One may not pass directly from the physical plane to the spiritual plane. Guys, you can connect with the spiritual plane. If you learn how to do that, you can connect with your ancestors on the spiritual plane. You have to raise up past the plane of force into the spiritual plane. That's the key, by raising your vibration. Upon reaching the spiritual plane, according to your deeds, it is determined whether or not you proceed or recycle into incarnation, possessing human form. The spiritual plane is the plane whether you burn out your desires or not. If you still have desires for the material realm, you reincarnate and come back. So you have to overcome the lower forces that are in you, in your DNA. You have to overcome your desires, is the point, in order to leave this realm. The book I'm reading from, guys, is the Science of Creation. Just so you know, the book I'm reading from, guys, is the Science of Creation. Just so you know. The master teacher put this out back in 1997, 98, I think it came out. When one ascends, the physical body appears to be in slumber or in a trance during the hours of sleep. It is quite easy to ascend accidentally. This is the time when the spirit body can act freely upon a physical body, drawing the spirit and the soul upward. Sleep is also the time when one is apt to receive spiritual impressions. There are 2 ways to ascend from the physical plane. One, with the body raising a vibration of your physical body up to the level of your spirit and your soul, guys. So if you could raise the vibrations of your cells in harmony with your spiritual body, this is how you move into the other realms. You can only do this through the rituals. You can only do this through the rituals, guys. That's how you raise your vibration. Then continuing to raise the vibration until you can pass through your etheric cord freely, taking the physical body with you. Or 2, leaving the body and only allowing the spirit and the soul ascend. That's what happens when people astral project, or people have out of body experiences. They leave their physical body in this realm and they're moving their spirit and soul out of their physical body. That's what they showed in the Doctor Strange movie, how you separate from the physical body. What you do is you pull your spirit out of your body using your mind. The last one is the mental plane. Above the spiritual plane is the mental plane. This is where all individuality is given up, because the spirit and the soul are outgrown on the spiritual plane and are unable to pass into the mental plane. Elevation cannot be made to the mental plane unless one dies or has given up the physical life. Only the angelic beings, or the Nathara, we say, or the prophets, or Al Khidr, the green one, are able to travel back and forth freely through this plane. At the point when one loses the spirit and soul, he or she is no longer able to determine or complete any action for or against him or herself. This is because there is no self. One has taken the ultimate step. And from this point on, he or she has burned out all desire. That's how you can leave this realm. You got to burn out your desires. And that what allows us to move into the other realms, the mental plane, to move higher. Lastly, I want to show you this last thing, and then we'll be done. This is the book we put out, What is Spirit and Soul? So here, what is spirit and soul in relation to man? In respect to man, his spirit is a shell for the soul, which the emotional body and the ability to respond emotionally stems. The spirit is a life body. The soul is the emotional body that makes man responsible and concerned. The divine body and the mentality of a person is the soul. Your soul, if you do not sell it to the devil, lives on. You need your soul to get to the next realm. I repeat that. You need your soul to get to the next realm. I repeat that. You need your soul to get to the next realm. You sell your soul, guys, by not developing yourself spiritually. You spend all your energy, want to play basketball, go to the gym, hang with, whatever, partying, going to the clubs, watching TV, eating your life away. You're using your soul energy to do all of that stuff. That's feeding the forces. And by the time you die, because you never did anything spiritually, you don't have enough soul force energy to move you into the higher realms. Plus the Mozaku, the Etherians can't see you because you didn't never raise yourself up high enough. That's what I was saying earlier. You need your soul to move into the next realm. And we give our soul to the devil by feeding his world, by living, working for him, building for him, inventing things for them, entertaining them. We're using all of our energies to serve them, and you deplete yourself. You deplete yourself spiritually. So this circle represents the physical. The body is on the outer, the outer circle is the physical body, right? The inner circle is your spiritual body, and then inside that inner circle is your soul force. And your soul force is what sustains you. The soul and the spirit, when they connect, it's what connects you to it's what connects you to your etheric body. This is a picture of your etheric body. You need your soul and your spirit to connect to your etheric body. We call your ach or your achak. But all right, guys. I have so much more I didn't even get to cover, but we're at a time constraint because I needed to get into this. This is the conscious being. This is a patarak. And that breaks down some very important stuff on this topic that you guys need to know. Something like this: at physical death of the body, the soul, the pa-ba, and the spirit pa-ka are separated after 70 days and are reunited. If you are unable to reunite, then the soul will continue on to higher planes alone, leaving the spirit and all sense of personal attachments to fade or gradually disintegrate into nothingness. That's a loss of soul to its higher link, pa-akha, your etheric self. You won't be able to connect to your etheric self if you can't connect to your soul force when it separates when you die. And that's because that happens because people don't develop themselves spiritually. That's why this is why the master's teaching us all of this. This will happen to all who give or lose their souls, as did the Ka'u, the Canaanites, whose etheric being is too weak, only reaching 6 ether, are not strong enough to fly the heavens, so they do not receive their wings. This To a Patai or the Nagaru, this is considered a terrible fate, and that was the reason for the ancient funeral rites of the opening of the mouth ceremony when Sa'at or Orion was above in the sky to reunite the Ba with the Ka, the spirit, to give power enough to radiate and integrate the state called Asar or Osiris. This is raised the Sachem, the power of the Akak, the ether, all done in 180 degrees operating state as the DNA double helix are inverse worlds positioned at 180 degrees. In essence, you have to raise your spiritual self in order to connect, in order to resurrect. You know? Question, what about near-death experiences? That's the separation of the spirit body, right, from the physical body because of an accident usually, right? That's what happens. But they resuscitate the body back, right, where the body becomes functioning and the spirit then can go back into the body once the body is fixed. That's usually what happens in near-death experiences. There's a disconnect, and so one goes into the spirit realm. You go into the plane of force. You become conscious where you are, and while your body is being repaired by a doctor or something. That's usually what happens with that, because now doctors have the science of keeping the body functioning, repaired, so that the spirit can incarnate back into the body. So that's what what they call near-death experience is, that separation due to some kind of incident that happened to your body. All right, I'll read this last thing that the master taught on this subject, and then we'll be done. It says here, in relation to the body or physical, the soul is the placenta, right? Think of it, the soul as the placenta of a female, the placenta. The spirit is the yolk. And the shell is the body that houses it, okay? So you have the shell, then you have the yolk inside the shell, and inside the yolk is the placenta. Now, the placenta is what attaches the body to the other world and supplies the spirit with energy. So the soul is what brings, that's what connects you to the higher realms, to the universe itself, and it feeds the spirit. So the placenta is what attaches the body to the outer world and supplies the spirit energy. They do not want you to know these things. And there is a difference between Nagaru and the Kakasu. The soul is the life of the emotional body. The soul is from the reservoir of all, right? The soul is from the blackness of space, dark matter, dark energy. The spirit is the all. Your spirit comes from the universe that you're existing in, the suns. And the body is of the planet Earth. The all is I am. The soul is unconditional. The spirit is conditioned and the body is conditioned. Or the spirit is conditioned and the body is conditioned. Once the soul separates from the body, it's like the placenta separating from the body. The soul either goes to Orion, aka Saha, or Cyrus, aka Sabat, or Sabatet. Right? So, like, females are connected to Sabatet, and males are connected to Sa. So your soul, those who resurrect, will go to those realms. Like when the tomb of Asar was discovered, there was no body, yet a submerged stone coffin. The soul travels on to Orion, or aka Sa, after the opening of the mouth ceremony was performed, and the body was left to decay in a coffin. The soul does hover near the body for a period of time. The priests of Amun perform the opening of the mouth ceremony, yet all the internal or moist organs are removed from the body and placed in canopted jars. They do that, guys. Remember, you don't want to live liquids that attract spirits, right? It attracts spirits, and it's what keeps your soul and spirit connected to the body. This is why they had to dry out the body in the mummification process. Know that. And that's why we cremate our body, so that you don't, so that you're not trapped, your spirit's not trapped to the physical body, because that blood in the body is what it locks you. Keep that in mind, especially if you're not spiritual. The heart was removed and returned back to the body, as it had to speak for the deceased on his journey. During the ceremony, Ashtat was present as a created deity and represented Asar. The heart was placed on a scale and weighed against the feather of Ma'at, and the body was wrapped in a cocoon. The Ba takes the Ka to Orion, and this is only accomplished through the ritual. The philosopher's stone is the formula for eternal life. This Noom, or elixir, and rituals was lost after Akhenaten took over, and the priests of Amun stopped performing the opening of the mouth ritual. The power of the mouth Kuzet was called Noom, or Numum in our language. It is something the Sands people use this principle to put them in communication with the stars. Guys, the Sands, to this very day, they harness this, and they have a ritual that connects them with the Nathar, with their ancestors. They do that to this very day, guys. They know these rituals, and they call it Namun. I've talked about this before in other videos, but Norman Carr, once I woke up above my body, I gradually went back into my body. Yeah. And again, so the people, they experience that a lot, right? Especially during sleep. That's why people talk about they go out of body, where the spirit separates from the body, because when you go into a sleep state, now what happens is it's not pulling on your spirit. And so if you can become conscious, the key is moving your consciousness in harmony with your spirit body. That's your goal. Once you can move your conscious in harmony with your spirit body, then it becomes easy to separate from the physical body. And then you can become one with your spirit body, and you go in and out at will. That's the goal, guys. And on that note, we will end. This was a long class, as you know, but it's so much I needed to get out. I still didn't get everything out, but we did our best. Study, take your time, study this information. This is key. Never forget, you have to learn how to get through those 9 gates. You can only do that because you have to learn to make contact with your oversoul, with the masters. Very important to understand this. You don't want to be trapped, keep reincarnating. On that note, we will end this. We'll do our 9 o'clock rituals, and we'll close out. I hope this helps, guys. Like I said, definitely take your time, watch it as many times as you need. Get access to the books. Do what you need to do. This is very important. This information, it really is. Yeah, I hear you, Norman Carr. I hear you. It is a very intense subject matter. And guys, ask questions, right? Put questions in the chat. That's important, in the comment section throughout the week. And, we can further, I can further, furnish more information for those who have direct questions on this topic. So that's important. With that being said, we'll start the rituals. Bade Kalal Namasa Wufak or Aman Kasemun Shalal Port. Pa Takyud. Anuki Jawef Pa Ashuk Impa Port. Wu Kale Ashuk Kawun Jawef Nia. Anuki Kasemun Impa Port. Wu Pa Port Kawun Kasemun Nia. Anuki Wahu Ama Pa Port. Wu Pa Port Kawun Wahu Ama Nia. Naku Kodor Naju Amer Kasamun Impa Put Wu Habu Amer Muskasun Naku Kodor Kawan Kale Pafaf Naku Taya Jawep Pa Put Amer Wase Amer Dayani Kawun Lake Baku Jawep Pa Put Anuki Yabab B Nafasni Pa Put Kawun Anuki Pa Put Kodor Naku Kodor Pa Put Amul Nakuk Amul Lahehum Manehnu Lahehum Manehnu Ahum Mata Karehum Ahum Mata Karekum Ahum Mata Karenun Ahum Mata Juefnia Ahum Mata Nia Wu Anuki Hum Yaye Ashuk Re'e Asmua Jayenun Yaye Nataru Afuknun Anunata Mukhra Ukum Yaye Nataru Afuknun Afuknun Yaye Nataru Nun Nun Atun Amun Namazo Wahu Yaye Mufaku Yaye Yaye Nataru Yaye Soye Yaye Nataru Yaye Hika Yaye Nataru Ankum at the Pa Mufaku Yaye Yaye Nataru Ankum at the Pa Mufaku Wu Anu at the Mukra Ukum Wu Ankum at the Muisanun Yaye Yaye Nataru Aro Muklasnu Atum Re'e Yaye Yaye Nataru Namazo Atu Aron Hu Yaye Mukdem Wafudnun Ankum Mane Yake Laduda Muslafunun Wu Musa Unun Mane Yake Sawura Paba Mane Yake Kawuna Ka'u Mane Yake Ata Akhak Mane Yake Kawuna Basha Wu Damam Yaye Nataru Mukdamunun Aro Muftadnun Anhu Kawun Mazam Mane Pa Nataru Aro Anhu Anhu Kawun Baba Yananan Aro Anhu Anhu Kawun Atum Re'e Aro Anhu Kawun Haroa Namazo Talu Yaye Nataru Muslafunun Afudnun Mane Pa Mujwa'u Afudnun Mane Ga Ha'an Yaye Nataru Afudnun Mane Saya Khayara Afudnun Afudniya Yaye Nataru Nun Namazo Rabu Pa Tahmui Nakuk Talub Tahmui Bi Pa Nataru Mane Pe La'en Lawi Tenanu Kale Ranum Atni At the Lahe Pa Nataru Wu Kale Namazo Atni At the Lahe Kayat Yatun Laye Pa Nataru Pa Sawab Wu Pa Tarak Mane Masfa Kawun Pa Sawab Wu Pa Tarak Z Kawuna Nazula Lahe Ankum Mane Musbat Wu Masa Ame Hadayan Wu Damal Mane Muslafukum Wu Nataru Aju Layena Fasukum Afuk Shane Kawunkum Pa Sawab Wu Pa Tarak Pa Hadayan Wu Pa Damal Anun Tawa Ankum Lahe Panen Damal Wu Shafe Anun Tawa Ankum Lahe Tem Nasuinun Anun Tawa Ankum Lahe Ashuk Kuma Ankum Ata Muslafunun Anun Ata Mukra Ukum Anum Talub Nasa Kuma Anun Talub Nasa Kuma Ansor Nun Kahen Nataru Ansor Nun Muslafunun Anunata Muspatu Anun Atun Amun Yaye Nataru Nun Yaye Muftau Yaye Nataru Yaye Atum Reye Yaye Natar Ya ye nun. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye nun tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye ha. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye ha tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye kak. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye kak tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye amun. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye amun tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye atun. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye shishash. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye tafaf natat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye sabab. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye natat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye arastat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye asar. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye nababta hatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye satach. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye hara. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye haptwi. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye anaktat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye aha haratwi. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye nafartun. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye manthu. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye babti. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye sachem tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye hata haratat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye baibis. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye patata. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye basastat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye imhatap. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye hu. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye matat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye mahart. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye chafaf re'eh. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye miskinat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye re'eh tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye sentiment to you. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye hika. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye ma'at. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye renen tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye shai. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye sashat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye mafdat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye sabak. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye anak. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye chanun. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye chanas. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye patata nun. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye soye. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye haktat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye amas. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye saratwi. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye atum re'eh. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye dehutwi. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye patata warat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye sakatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye ha. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye neheb ka'ah. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye sakar. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye ba. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye akar. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye imharatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye wapawatat. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye sakha hatap tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye meritat sakar tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye suye tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye garatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye asat inu. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye bahatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye sakhem tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye manak tat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye chamem. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye mahatwi. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye kabefsin and afaf. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye damata afaf. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye meritat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye nasat. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye imdadatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye nachakbatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye sachatat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye anaktat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye dadad. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye tun. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye wahoo. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye yasas. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye anach. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye afterwit. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye satat. Ya ye nathar tat. Ya ye sachatwi. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye imat. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye nanah. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye imnuit. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye imsataktwi. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye mudaltat. Ya ye nathartat. Ya ye rahashafaf. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye maratwi. Ya ye nathar. Ya ye amun re'e. Ya ye nathar. Yehu Anun. After Khaled Jawef Pa'ut. Ah Nun Re'e. Ah Tun Re'e. Ah Tun Re'e. Ah Mun Re'e. Ye'aun. Amun. 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 Jennifer. Okay, all right. We reached that time. We covered a lot, and as I keep saying, guys, take your time, watch it again, put comments in the comment section. For if you have questions about it, you should have questions about it because it's a very, I think, intense subject matter, right? No one really teaches about these things because most people have no clue what the science of death is all about, the nature of it. It requires a master teacher in order to even get this type of information. So you should not take it lightly. This is very key information. If you don't want to be trapped in this realm, like so many of our people are, then you will take it to heart. You also will spread the word. Spread the word. Let people know the power of what we're teaching. Let people know this is divine information that has been sent down to us, for us, by way of the master teacher. And with that note, I will see you guys next week. Much blessings, much love.